There wasn't a moment when I just decided that climate change was real. It was more like a process. I serve as the lead pastor of Church Without Religion here in West Texas. I've been here a decade. I came here in 2005. I also serve as a professor at Texas Tech in linguistics, but my passion is to communicate this message of God's grace and God's love and really see people who sometimes have been hurt by church or, just through misunderstanding what the Bible's really about. And one of my key goals is really to help people by showing them the love and grace of God.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Andrew Farley Live. This is Andrew Farley, and we are live across the United States and Canada for the next hour.
Coming from Canada, I had never met anybody who didn't think climate change was real. My perspective was, well, the grass is green, the sky is blue, climate is changing due to human activities. Andrew had never met somebody who shared his faith who did think that climate change was real. He came very much from the South. He grew up in a community, in a university, in a family that didn't think that climate was changing, and if it was, it certainly wasn't because of humans.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I ever would have changed my mind if I hadn't met Catherine. I mean, it's through our relationship that I really saw that, maybe I need to rethink some things. And this is not the first time. I mean, I've rethought many things in my Christian life. Early on, I was a hyper legalist. I was worried about trying to get right and stay right with God through a bunch of works, jumping through hoops all the time, feeling like you never arrive. And the grace of God really invaded my world and changed my perspective. Well, it's the same with this issue. I mean, I think that I had some things wrong, that I let my background determine whether I was even going to be open to an idea or not. And Catherine was able to show me NASA's website, for example, and I'm going, well, is all of NASA duped here, or is there really something to this? And I think, we Christians, we're constantly needing to rethink some things now and then, and this would be one of those things. I think, we Christians, we have to realize that we don't have it all together all the time, and we don't know everything, and there's lots of learning to take place. Like in the summer, the deal is you work so hard for like 30 seconds or 2 minutes of fun out on the water, and then you're totally exhausted.
Andrew and I met in grad school. I was the large group coordinator for a Christian student group called InterVarsity. One of my jobs was to organize the speakers, the other was to greet people. Andrew was new, I greeted him. What I love about Andrew is he's never boring. He is not what you would expect when you meet either a linguistics professor or a pastor.
When I met Catherine, it was pretty obvious that we shared a Christian faith that was very dear to both of us. She was very interested in Christian fellowship and being a leader in the Christian community. And so was I. We were both wired for that, and I sensed that right off the bat. I think, we're similar in that regard, and then we're different just in the way that we think and our personalities, our senses of humor, the way we process stuff. And, I'm more of an extrovert, and I would say she's kind of in the middle. But we have a lot of things in common. We're both firstborns and both have 2 siblings and both grew up in Christian homes. So we share the same values and the same perspective on God. And as the issues of climate change started to come up in the media, I realized that her work was going to be really integral and helpful in terms of communicating about climate change. I didn't grow up believing in any environmental concerns. I mean, I was basically believing that, save the whales and bathe in a stream and wear hemp and stand in front of the bulldozers so they don't plow over the trees. I mean, all of those environmental concerns are all bogus, and here comes climate change. It must be like all of those other concerns, one and the same. So I lumped them all together and categorized them, labeled them as a liberal agenda, and then simply dismissed them.
Changing anybody's mind is definitely a process. So even today, there's still things that we talk about, but what about this solution or that solution? Or how could we actually tackle this problem without compromising people's values? But the watershed moment probably was when the tide turned, was when we went together to NASA's website and he downloaded the temperature data from NASA and he put it into Excel on his own computer and he plotted it. And as he would say at that moment, he had a decision to make. Either NASA, who put men on the moon, was involved in this worldwide conspiracy to fake this issue, or it really was true. And so, being a smart person, he applied Occam's razor. The simplest answer usually is right. And that was, I think, the turning point of our discussion.
Is the world heating up? Well, all the data tells us it is. It doesn't matter your political background, your religious persuasion. Facts are facts. And I think that, I had to realize that and, take my head out of the sand and start to ponder the reality of climate change.
If every home in the United States replaced just one traditional light bulb with a new LED, that would be like taking almost 1 million cars off the road. There are all kinds of little things we can do to save ourselves money and to reduce our carbon footprint. That's why one of my favorite organizations is called Climate Caretakers. It's an organization that every month sends out a new action for all of us to take. But working together, we can accomplish even more. So I'm so encouraged when I see what churches are doing and what Christian organizations like World Vision are doing, or even the National Association of Evangelicals that now has a formal climate change statement. These organizations are working together to help people here and on the other side of the world, whether it's putting a community solar garden on the roof, whether it's going into all the senior citizens' homes and replacing their light bulbs for them, so they'll never have to change them again because LEDs last a long time and they save money too. Whether it's people working for Habitat for Humanity, helping low-income people build energy-efficient houses, or whether it's working with people on the other side of the world who know they have to prepare for a changing climate in order to feed their families. There's huge potential for working in community. But lastly, we also have to support policy action, because climate change is a tragedy of the commons. Working individually, we can never totally fix this problem. We need the right framework to work within. Currently, fossil fuels are subsidized to the tune of trillions of dollars. We can't fight against that. We need policy that helps each of us make sensible decisions. And so that's why one of the organizations that I support is Citizens Climate Lobby, because it has a tangible solution to climate change. Let's put a price on carbon. Let's let the market work out how to do that, let the chips fall where they may, and let's give that money back to individual people so that we are not financially harmed by that.
What would I say to people that can't accept the solutions to climate change? I would say buckle your seatbelt, because China and many other countries have already been excelling and surpassing us here in the United States in terms of wind energy and solar energy. And if we don't watch it, if we don't join in a competitive way in the marketplace, we're going to find ourselves behind the times and hurting economically. So now is the time to invest big time in alternative energy. This is a real issue, and we can either shy away from it and pretend like it's not happening, or we can get aggressive and even look at it as an opportunity for free enterprise, an opportunity for development, an opportunity for industry and for jobs. There's a way to go about this that doesn't bankrupt the country, but instead helps us compete globally.
My hope is that by acting on climate, we will pave the way to a better world. We all want a world where energy is clean and it's never going to run out on us. We all want a world where everybody has enough food to eat and enough clean water to drink. We all want a world where our children can grow up safely, free of fear, of political turmoil, terrorism, famine, and flood. That's the world that we all want. And that's the world that we can get when we invest in clean energy.
I think the key is that we Christians, we have a new heart, and that's where Christ lives. And so to be able to live the Christian life from the heart, not under obligation, not under a lot of religious pressure, but instead just out of a heartfelt motive of thank you. Thank you for what you've done for me. Through the cross, through the resurrection, God is basically saying, I'm in love with you. I want to forgive you. I want you to be in a place where there's no score being kept. That's what forgiveness is. And that the love is unconditional. And so that's what we proclaim at Church Without Religion. And that's my heart, is to help people heal through coming to know the love of God.